What does America do best? Turn corn into things that are not corn. Corn is nature's Lego. Amazing national park system. I'm a Canadian who has visited nearly all of the states in the west half of your country. It's a colossal understatement to say they are your national treasure. Spicy chicken wings. I have lived in 5 other countries on 3 continents, and I am yet to find chicken wings that come even close to what you can get in USA. Canadian here. Just got home from Vegas. You guys are the best at charming the crap out of girls, hustling for cash, and customer service. I had an amazing time. Cars with 650 horsepower under $60,000. GT 500. I was at a local brewery grill a few months ago when the table next to me said to the waitress, "Our friend here is from Germany, and he's never had hush puppies or sweet tea. We are in the south." I crap you not. Our section of the restaurant went dead quiet. The waitress says in that case, 1 order of hush puppies and tea, on the house. It's that pride and willingness, if not insistence, to share parts of our culture that we love. Maybe not the best thing, but I like it. I'm a Texan who never had chicken fried steak. I was almost killed when the waitress found out. Edit. I am so sorry, Texas. A few years ago, I had to miss a statics midterm to attend my US nationalization ceremony. My professor was amazingly gung-ho about my reason for absence! Exclamation points in an email. I got an A in the class. I always will remember when I was in Israel and attended a talk about regional conflicts that was paneled by both Arabs and Jews. After both groups explained the problems they have with the opposite group, someone finally asked them what they both liked. The answer was American movies and music, which everyone agreed that was the one thing they both liked. American pop culture FTW. Jazz. And blues. We also protect Canada very well. Let someone frick with Canada, we fricking dare you. We will fricking frick anyone with so much fricking liberty they will hear the Star-Spangled Banner for years. Canada is like that weird awkward friend that never really talks, but everybody will stand up for them because they're so nice. Default smiling. Buy a coffee, get a smile. Make random eye contact, get a smile. In most parts of the world, smiles are not as readily given out or are causes for suspicion. The Thai are good at it too though. Muay Thai fighters are fun to watch for that reason. They'll pummel an opponent viciously, then smile and hug. American here. I smiled while I read this. Land on space objects without crashing. Muscle cars. They're like the only ones that make muscle cars. Cartoon adultish comedies. Futurama, South Park, Family Guy, American Dad, apparently King of the Hill. I've never watched it, and of course The Simpsons. The Simpsons, taking all things into account, could very well claim to be the best TV show of all time. Using freedom for scale and measuring everything in freedoms. I'm pretty sure America makes the highest quality pee in the world. We've got the market cornered for every genre except tentacle pee. Guitars. Virtually every single significant guitar ever made is American, regardless of a band's nationality. The bands that don't use an American Fender, Gibson, Martin, Epiphone, Rickenbacker, PRS, etc. are few and far in between. With the exception of several British amplification companies, America has virtually every aspect of the guitar market covered. How has no one said barbecue yet? Most people in other countries don't even understand what you're talking about if you say BBQ. The food. Honestly, your food is amazing. I have never eaten so many different dishes that honestly nowhere in the world can match. Your craft beer beats a lot of beers here in Germany as they're all different. Also, I'm a sucker for sweet tea. The people. Everyone is so friendly. It's hard to get an entire sentence out of a European. But in America people will just talk to you completely out of the blue. It's so refreshing compared to how lonely a big European city can feel. Tolerance America was formed from people from everywhere else on earth, and is getting rid of oppression faster than anywhere else. Perhaps because of your shared histories. Even after World War II, Europe was not a good place for Jews, Gypsies, or anyone that isn't a white heterosexual Christian to live. That is only just starting to change, but many Europeans are still prejudiced, particularly against Muslims and LGBT people. The culture. Only in America are people free to truly speak their mind. In Europe you can only do this so long as you don't offend a protected minority. I think this is why America is so much more tolerant than Europe. Europeans are forced to keep their feelings private and resentment grows as nobody will challenge their opinions, only suppress them. The places I've only been to a handful of states, but each one is like a different country. The cities are something to behold and feel truly different, something you don't get in Europe so much. Not to mention the stunning landscape. The military, you guys have the most advanced military on the planet, and are willing to use it to protect other people as well as your own, be it against the NSDAP or modern terrorists. While many Europeans like to complain, the world is better for having America. Say hello. We do it more often, more creatively, and with more enthusiasm than anywhere else in the world. Good old-fashioned baseball, winning 107 out of 109 World Series. It's like the rest of the world isn't even trying. Music, movies, microcode, software, high-speed pizza delivery. Probably complaining how terrible America is, even though it's awesome. I hate how amazing this stupid piece of crap country is. I had a German prof in college that loved the depth and width of our profanity. Not sure if that's an English language thing or an American thing. Elite education and training. Top students from across the world flock to America's universities for education in engineering, finance, math, medicine, law, and everything else. The smartest, and often richest, high school students in other countries frequently will move to a different country to go to Harvard, Princeton, and even highly regarded public universities like University of Wisconsin or Michigan. But it's extremely rare for top students in the US to leave the country for education elsewhere. I may be mistaken, but I believe the only colleges in the world's top 10 that aren't in the US are Oxford and Cambridge. Island reporting in. It's easy to be cynical about it, but really, the US really should be praised for the free speech its people enjoy. Many Western countries have free speech light. You can mostly say what you want, but things get complicated if your speech is deemed offensive by a protected group and you may be risking going to court if you say something bad about an organization with money. I understand that nowhere has perfect free speech, but the US comes closer than most with its constitutional guarantees, and it's something that's really worth celebrating. Some examples. Going clear: a recent expose of Scientology couldn't be published in the UK for fear of lawsuits. 2. The US-based Reddit regularly holds free debate about massively controversial topics, which could run afoul of various countries' hate speech laws. For instance, let's say you're of the opinion that the Holocaust is a Zionist lie. You're perfectly free on Reddit to start up a conversation about this, and have your arguments be utterly destroyed in doing so. Is this healthy? I think so. The best counter to a bad argument is a good argument. It's not suppression or censorship. 3. The US has a pretty good record in allowing the uncensored publication of art, literature, and even video games that are subject to censorship in other parts of the Western world. I salute Americans for their P-movies, Miley Cyrus and the lesbian scenes in every good HBO series. I know that free speech battles are being continually fought in the US and that sometimes it seems like a never-ending battle. I also accept that there are all sorts of problems like free speech on campuses, free speech zones, and so on. Even so, recognize that you are still ahead of most of the world when it comes to the right to say what you want. It might be lame to love my country, but I do, because there is not one thing we all do best. We are a highly diverse group of mixed talents. Sure, we have our problems, but who doesn't? I think America is the best at bringing the world together in that sense, through our diversity. Most other Americans will probably think I am insane for saying so, but I think we are much more progressive on race and class than most other countries. It doesn't seem like it, because we're always arguing about these things and they seem terrible, but my experience with other cultures is that they often go to the extreme of harboring their resentments toward others and never want to openly address or fight about the problem. I think our perception of Europeans, for instance, is that they are all open-minded and progressive souls with no animosity in their souls, but all you have to do is look at the ongoing treatment of gypsies, Jews, and Muslims to recognize that there is still a good deal of institutionalized inequality in the rest of the world, which America has finally, after a long and bloody history, begun to move past. If you're Jewish, there is no better place to live than here. Maybe Israel, but most of the Jews I know prefer the United States. First off, I'm a born American citizen of Mexican heritage. From my upbringing and experiences I can tell things about America and Americans. Food, my god do we take our food for granted. I go to Mexico often during spring break and summer. Although Mexican food in Mexico is great, the other cuisines they try to make is far below America's standards. America has 50 states all with their own take on food, though I'd say California, Texas, and the South have the best cuisines in the states. Every time I come home from a different country I always go straight to good old in and out. Military. Yes, we do overfund our military and we should defund quite a bit to the amount it actually needs. However, our military is America's sword and shield. Our military is far advanced of any other military in the world and is constantly innovating in technology. Much of the technology we love has come through the US military. In fact, it is the US military that is still allowing NASA to do its technological research. Although Obama was joking when he said that we're building Iron Man, we are actually not that far off from some sort of exosuit or futuristic type of armor. Our military is so vast that we're the first to respond if another country needs our help. It is because our military is so big that we have this duty to police and care for. We also usually see on the news our military in combat, when a lot of what our military does is provide humanitarian aid. Culture. Contrary to popular belief by foreigners, America does have culture. You see it everywhere and anywhere in the world. Much of what the world loves today is most likely American. Americans are unbelievably friendly. We are considered cool in many parts of the world. A lot of us are great cooks. Probably our biggest traits are our hope, perseverance and positiveness. Europeans might call that being unrealistic and naive. So, we love that. It is because of our navy that North America is the most tolerant continent in the world and easily the most genuine. Americans and North Americans are very progressive when it comes to dealing with race, gender issues, sexuality, and religious ideals. Sure, there are bigots here, but there are even more reasonable and educated folk than bigots. I recognize that our country still has a lot it can improve on, mainly secondary education, healthcare, immigration, and foreign policy. It's only a matter of time for LGBTQ rights and the legalization of marijuana. Okay, maybe immigration too, but we will do that and fix that. Why? Because we're Americans. It's in our nature to fix the present and create a better tomorrow. America's best at Americans frick yeah. The little wave people do to each other from inside their cars. Like, hey patriot, go ahead wave, thanks fellow freedom fighter. I love it. Dutch citizen here, moving to the US to be with future wife soon. To me, what America does best is a few things. Diversity. I live in Europe and I can literally go see Paris, then go to London and then chill it on the coasts of Spain in the span of a weekend. If I wanted to waste a lot of money and felt like it. However, each place I know what to expect and what kind of people to expect. In the US, man, I feel like I go into a different country from town to town. Sometimes even from neighborhood to neighborhood. I love all the different people and all the different foods that I can explore. Which brings me to food. France is a country of good food. No, not really. France is the country of an expensive grilled cheese given a name you probably can't pronounce with a slice of tomato on it. All the different food, everywhere. And I'm not just talking fast food. I'm talking about everything. I have yet to find something online which I wanted to try and couldn't Google and find I could get it within a reasonable driving distance. As I said, I live in Holland. Holland is boring as heck. So what the US does best to me is also the amount of life I can find there. The people, the cultures, the things to explore, and some cities and towns and areas go through a complete metamorphosis at night. The States. The United States of America is one country, but to me, as an outsider, it's like 50 different countries. I've only been in a handful of different states, but it's amazing. The scenery changes, the people, the culture, yet, I don't feel like I don't belong as if I went from Holland to Paris. For example, I love the feeling of going through a windy and rain-filled forest lush state to a summer paradise with big buildings and long beaches and then end up in a beautiful snow-white area where there's a foot of snow and snowmen everywhere. I get laid when I'm there, which I guess I could also give the country credit for. Thanks for the fricking Future wife. Just remember, every time you got down with a future wife, you gained a small amount of freedom. It's like an STD but one you want. Malaysian born, Filipino raised and British educated here. I've seen my fair share of travel. My answer to you, sir, is beef. Nowhere else does a good steak as commonplace and as cheaply as America does. Building airplanes. We're the first at everything aerospace related. Even our boondoggles revolutionize aircraft in the past 20 years. First stealth fighter that's not something barely staying in the air. We passed up an even better one for cost political reasons. VTOL aircraft using a new, highly accurate design. 360-degree missile lock tech, which is part of a revolutionary avionics leap involving augmented reality interfaces, new composite materials in a jumbo jet, tilt-rotor aircraft, more stealth tech, hypersonic aircraft such as the X-43, new spacecraft tech, such the X-37. Yeah, we're quietly beginning to kick butt in manned spaceflight again. NASA kicks butt at everything it does, and more. Chonk is back. Tell him hi Chonk in the comments and he will bring you good luck once again. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day you magnificent people.